Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Temperatures are rising all across Metro Detroit, and the local forecasters are tracking what is in store for your weekend. And speaking of weekend, start your engines. The Grand Prix is back on Belle Isle, and we'll have a preview for you. But first, one person is dead and 3 others were shot, including a young child. Detroit police are releasing a photo of who they think is responsible. And thank you for joining us for this special edition of Local 4 News at noon, online at clickondetroit.com. I'm Evrod Cassamy. Police need your help in tracking down the suspects in yesterday's shooting on Detroit's west side, and they say this newer black Infiniti SUV is responsible for the shooting. 4 men were inside, and investigators believe only 2 of them fired shots. It happened around 6:30 Thursday on Calvert Avenue, right near the Lodge Freeway, and we have learned that a 51-year-old man was killed. A 6-year-old boy and 2 other people, a 22-year-old and a 38-year-old, are in stable condition. New at noon, a 16-year-old is in the hospital after being hit by a car in Redford. Sky 4 was there over the scene around 6 this morning at Telegraph in West Chicago. Sources are telling Local 4 that the teen was crossing Telegraph when the car hit him. We're told that he is expected to survive. Right now, police are still looking for the car and the driver that left the scene without stopping. So if you know anything, please contact Redford Police. Another son of legendary Michigan football coach Bo Schembechler is coming forward, saying that he does not believe his brother's story. It comes in response to Matt Schembechler claiming publicly that Bo not only ignored the abuse of Dr. Robert Anderson, but also got angry and physical when he was alerted of the sexual abuse back in 1969. Matt came forward on Thursday with 2 former U of M football players. All of them shared similar stories.
Bo's temper was legendary, and he lost it. He screamed, "I don't want to hear this. I'm not hearing this." I tried to tell him repeatedly, but my effort earned me a punch in the chest. This was the beginning of the end of the relationship with him.
Glenn Schembechler, Matt's brother, tells ESPN, quote, "My heart goes out to the victims, but I know for certain that if Bo were here, he'd feel the same way. He would have gone to any lengths to help his players. Bo died back in 2006. Dr. Anderson stopped working at the university in 2003, and then he died in 2008. MSU basketball coach Tom Izzo is reacting to former Spartan Keith Appling being charged with murder. Tom Izzo says that he met with Appling recently.
I just had him up here 2 weeks, 3 weeks before that, 2-3 times. Oh yeah, and sat right where you're sitting, and things seem to be progressing in a good manner. I guess the best word I could use is sad more than hurt or anything else. I mean, he's one of my guys.
Keith Appling faced a judge on Thursday on a first-degree murder charge for allegedly shooting and killing his 66-year-old cousin. He pleaded not guilty and is being held without bond. All right, so there's more evidence growing that suggests the COVID-19 vaccine is linked to this rare heart condition, according to the CDC. Many people have reported heart inflammation after getting their second dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, especially men. The condition is called myocarditis. It's usually mild, but a handful of patients are in the hospital. 226 cases have been confirmed in people younger than 30. Normally, fewer than 100 cases would be expected from this age group. People in their early 20s make up more than half of the cases. An emergency meeting of advisors is set for June 18th. And the FDA says about 60 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine made at a Baltimore plant are not usable because of possible contamination. They plan to allow about 10 million doses to be distributed, but with a warning. The FDA has not yet decided whether Emergent Biosolutions, the company that operates that plant, can reopen the factory, which has been closed for 2 months because of regulatory concerns. And in other headlines this afternoon, the CDC announced it is no longer requiring masks in outdoor transit hubs or outdoor spaces on public transportation. Here at home, Michigan hits another vaccine milestone. The state's vaccination rate is at 60%. And then later today, we expect updated coronavirus numbers. But just yesterday, the state reported 301 cases and 40 additional deaths. However, 28 of those are from a review of vital records. If you are still looking to get vaccinated against COVID-19, you'll have a chance next week, and we'll be able to enjoy some free rides, food, and live music all at the same time. As Henry Ford Health System is teaming up with the Rock and Rides Festival in downtown Royal Oak to host a mobile clinic. That's going to be held next Thursday. It's from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m., and it's in the parking lot next to the Rock on 3rd Pub. The Pfizer vaccine is what's being offered there, and walk-ins are welcome, and they're also offering incentives.
If you come and you are vaccinated with us during the vaccine clinic, you're going to get 2 free tickets for admission to Rock and Rides, as well as an all-day wristband. So it's like a $28 value for a family. Wonderful opportunity to come out and enjoy the event and hopefully get vaccinated if you haven't done that yet.
And those vaccinated during the event will need to return in 3 weeks to get their second dose. Meanwhile, 2 passengers aboard a cruise ship have tested positive for COVID-19. The 2 guests are asymptomatic and they're isolating on board the Celebrity Millennium. The ship started the excursion from Aruba and was ending in St. Martin. It was the first cruise ship to sail out of North America since the start of the pandemic. The crew and passengers were fully vaccinated before getting on that cruise ship. The ship is scheduled to dock back in St. Martin tomorrow. President Biden and world leaders are meeting at the G7 summit in the UK this weekend, and they posed for a photo this morning in Carbis Bay just before kicking off their summit meetings. Some of the main issues to discuss include Russia, COVID-19, of course, and climate change. Let's check in with Peter Alexander. He has the latest this afternoon from England.
With the G7 summit beginning this morning, President Biden walking a delicate line in Cornwall in his first major in-person summit, aiming to present a united front and restore alliances that his predecessor, former President Trump, attacked, while looking ahead to a high-pressure meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin next week. Today, the topics expected to drive Mr. Biden's discussions: coronavirus, climate change, and cyber threats. The president's first order of business here, fortifying America's long-standing friendship with the UK, connecting in person with Prime Minister Boris Johnson for the first time since taking office.
I've been to my great country many times, but this is the first time as President of the United States.
Everybody's absolutely thrilled to see you.
On the pandemic, Mr. Johnson announcing the other G7 nations will match the U.S.'s 500 million dose donation, meaning 1 billion shots will be sent to nearly 100 nations, most in need.
We're doing this to save lives.
The move follows pressure on the president to do more with a stark divide in vaccination rates around the world. 52% of Americans have received at least 1 shot, but in Asia it's just 6%, and in Africa only 2%.
And tonight, a very special gathering. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles and other members of the royal family will come here to Cornwall for a reception with the G7 leaders, the Bidens among them. This is going to be one of the most high-profile appearances by the Queen since the recent passing of her husband, Philip. Back to you.
Well, after a year off, the Detroit Grand Prix is returning this weekend. We want to give you a live look from Sky 4 there, right over Belle Isle, as the festivities are underway for one of racing's biggest weekends, and we're certainly excited for that. Today is Free Pre-Day. It's presented by Comerica Bank, and it will allow race fans to get an inside look at the Grand Prix. Here's our Kim DeGiulio with a preview.
The Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear is back, and it all starts today with Free Pre-Day. And fans are more than excited to be back on Belle Isle watching this race because it's been 2 years since the last one. Practice rounds have begun, while some qualifying rounds will take place later this afternoon. The gates opened at 7:30 a.m. and the race fans followed as they made their way in from shuttle buses.
Remember, if you can't come here if you don't have a pass today. Normally it's Free Pre-Day, come on down, but because of COVID, today's 8,500 people. It's sold out, so if you got a pass, come on down. But if you don't, come out tomorrow, come out Sunday. We still have tickets available on DetroitGP.com. We're going to have an amazing weekend down on Belle Isle. The weather is amazing as well.
Exactly.
And here we are back to celebrate world-class racing in Detroit.
With capacity restrictions this year, the rest of the weekend is also expected to sell out. Tickets for the weekend start at $45. While masks are not required on the island, they are required on the shuttle buses. So if you do plan on heading down this weekend, make sure you grab your mask and grab your tickets as soon as possible. On Belle Isle, I'm Kim DeGiulio, Local 4.
All right, Kim, thank you so much. And again, we should point out all passes have been claimed for today's Free Pre-Day. So if you don't have one, you can't attend today's event, but there are limited tickets available still for Saturday and Sunday's races. So we're going to put all the information for you. Well, it's right here on clickondetroit.com. And remember, we here at Local 4, your television home for the Grand Prix all weekend long. But speaking of your weekend, it's time to get a check of your weekend forecast. We're excited for the Grand Prix, Paul, but I'm excited about all the bright colors that I'm seeing behind you, which means things are getting hot.
But what's really interesting, I'm glad you mentioned the colors, Evrod, because I was just about to point something out about these colors. Take a look along the lake shores. You notice how these oranges turn into yellows. That's the lake breeze bringing in cooler air off the lake. So, for example, Grosse Ile and the airport is at the south end of the island near the water. You're at 76 degrees. Look at 79 at Mount Clemens. But then you get inland in our metro zone, and we are solidly in the 80s. Now let's go to our south zone. Barely 80 degrees Monroe, and some of that lake breeze has made it over perhaps to Lambertville. But then you get inland, 82 in Dundee, 83 in Adrian. So not as much of an impact from Lake Erie. Then you get into our west zone. No impact from the water at all. So 84 in Milford, 84 in Howell, 82 Whitmore Lake, 86 in Ypsilanti. Then in our north zone, take a look. Lake Huron doing a number on you at Deckerville. You're at 75 degrees, even cooler right along the lake shore. But then you get to Emmett where it's 80 degrees, Romeo 80 degrees, Oxford at 80 as well. That's the great thing about 4-zone weather. We can show you this stuff. All right, no rain anywhere in sight except northern Lake Huron, but that's not really in sight. That's just up north, and that's moving off to the east. No downward motion to that. So let's just get right to the computer model and kind of break it down for you. Real nitty gritty here. We'll get real granular. So what we have is a dry afternoon through 4 o'clock and probably a dry afternoon for all of us. But between 5 and 7 or 8 o'clock, you can see just a few little pop-up thunderstorms are going to pop. And you can see there are even some in Ontario as well. The lake breezes may help actually trigger a few of those. But notice the coverage is quite sparse. Most of us won't get one. A few of us might. Obviously, much needed rain. So just keep an eye on the app's real-time radar, and you can stay ahead of the weather just in case you have an outdoor plan later this afternoon. But notice this stuff all fizzles out as we get into tonight, and we're dry for the rest of the night, and we're dry for the first half of our Saturday. So if you have yard work plans, outdoor plans, the first half of the day will be fine. The humidity's coming up, and with that in the afternoon and an approaching front, we get a little better coverage of thunderstorms Saturday afternoon. So again, heading down to the Grand Prix, or if you have other outdoor plans like the Tiger game, which I'll be at actually, keep an eye on the app's radar for these pop-up storms. And these will have torrential downpours and gusty winds continuing into the early evening hours before things start to settle down Saturday night. And that then sets us up for a great Sunday. Big changes in the jet stream I want to highlight real quick because you all want to know about this heat, when it's going away, and we're going to get some comfortable weather. This is the jet stream right here. It's depicted by the computer model, this thing right here. All right, it's well to our north, which allows that hot air to come in from the south. As we get into the weekend, notice that it's starting to settle a bit. So we're staying warm through the weekend, but look what happens by Tuesday, Wednesday. This big dip develops. We're in the dip. That means we get cooler air coming in. And when you see the 7-day forecast, you're going to be quite happy. And then, unfortunately, the whole thing moves away, and we get back to the hot air by the end of next week. But we're going to have a couple of great days coming up. Wait till you see. All right, today, though, oh, my gosh, look at that. Upper 80s to near 90 degrees with just that isolated pop-up late afternoon thunderstorm. Tomorrow, with the clouds coming in the afternoon and thunderstorms, we're going to knock back the temperature down into the mid to upper 80s, so we'll call it maybe 87. Sunday, lots of sunshine, lower humidity, so 86. Even though not much difference in temperature between Saturday and Sunday, Sunday will feel a lot more comfortable because the humidity will be lower. A few showers and storms on Monday, that's Flag Day. Then here you go. We talked about that dip in the jet stream, Evrod. Tuesday and Wednesday, highs in the upper 70s. And when we wake up Wednesday and Thursday morning, lows in the 50s. Great sleeping weather ahead there as well.
Yeah, we certainly like the sound of that. We like the temperatures getting hotter in the afternoon. Paul, thank you so much. And thank you for joining us here for Local 4 News online at clickondetroit.com. We hope to see you again on TV for Local 4 News 1st at 4.